There was one revelation I had when I was younger, and it was the first time that my wife and I actually went to buy a house. And when you sit down with a bank, which you have to do before you buy a house unless you're totally rich, which I'm not, you have to sit down with a bank and you have to say, okay, I'm thinking about buying a house and I want to know how much I can afford or how much of a loan I can take out. Well, what the bank wants to know is something called your net worth. So in other words, is it how much money I have? Not really, not your net worth. Your net worth is not completely how much money do I have, and I'll explain that in a second. But what they do then is they sit down and say, okay, well, based off of your assets and your liabilities, this is what your net worth is. And I remember the first time I heard it, and I went, really? And it was one of those, wow. And because it was more than just my income. And it was one of those, wow, I didn't realize that. And it was kind of a nice revelation. And so what they do, what a bank will do to basically say, here's what your net worth is. Well, first of all, what is an asset? Well, an asset is definitely your income. How much money do you make? And do you have a savings account? That could be an asset. But also, let's say that I invest in stocks, or I have some investments, and we'll just say stock markets is the easiest way to do it. Well, that's an asset. How much are those stocks worth? And so, well, currently, my investments are worth $10,000. Okay, so today you could cash those in and get $10,000. That's an asset. Your money that you make from your job, that paycheck you get, is an asset. And then what they also say is nowadays, now that I have a house, they say, okay, do you own your own home? And it's like, yes. Do you owe on it? Are you paying a mortgage? Yes. All right, well, what is your house worth? And how much do you owe on it? Well, that extra that if let's say my house is worth $200,000, I owe $100,000. They'll say, okay, well, you have $100,000 in assets there. You could sell your house and pay off what you owe and still have $100,000. So that's an asset. Hopefully that's making sense. Now, a liability, and hopefully you're saying, I see where this is going. A liability, how much credit card debt do you have? And if I say, well, I've got about $15,000 in credit card debt. Okay, and they say, any other liabilities? Well, I also have, student loans that I have to pay back from college. And so that's about $22,000. Okay, and notice my tone. So what this does is, what's your net worth? You take your assets, everything that's good, and then you subtract the liabilities. And at the end, this is your net worth. So what do you have that's worth stuff, that's worth cash, that you could cash in right now? Okay, so what do you have? That's an asset. What do you owe? Think credit card debt. Okay, loans, credit card debt. Subtract those two things. Well, now here's your net worth. And once they see what your net worth is, they'll kind of know how much they should allow you to borrow on something. So net worth is assets minus liabilities. And hopefully it's still a positive number. That's always the hope. You don't want to have, well, here are my assets, and this could happen, and here are my liabilities. My net worth isn't real good. So, and hopefully over time, it starts balancing out and flipping. So that's how you determine net worth. And that's how banks determine whether or not they want to loan you any money and how much they want to loan for you. So when you're looking at what is my net worth, take what's good, that's the assets. Take what's bad, what you owe, that's the liabilities. Subtract the liabilities from the assets, and you'll know your net worth. We'll see you next time.